Everybody loves to say that van builds are cheap. You see it online all the time. Oh, you only need 2-3 grand, 4 grand, and you're good to go. And honestly, I kind of believed it. I thought if I'd kept it simple, no luxuries, no fancy gear, that I could have the whole thing, honestly, like for next to nothing. But the truth is, my van actually cost me close to $9,000. $9,000. And it wasn't because I went wild on upgrades. It's not like I bought a Sprinter and I didn't hire a professional builder. I didn't get high-end cabinetry, and that cost, it came from me, from trial and error, from building, rebuilding, and buying and rebuying after things that failed. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the real cost of a DIY van and the struggles that drained my wallet, the mistakes that honestly nearly set my van on fire, and the surprising wins that kind of made it worth it. My solar story starts like every rookie mistake. Overconfidence. I thought panels are panels, right? It doesn't matter where you get them as long as I have enough. So when I went on eBay, I found like 6 panels for $150 each, and I clicked buy now. And that was like $900 gone in one hit. I kind of imagined myself parking anywhere, running everything with ease, because I had 6 panels. This entire roof was covered in solar panels. And in my head, it felt like overkill, but in a good way. Like I pictured pulling myself up to somebody else's van, and while they were worried about being in shade or power limits, I'd be gritting with a roof that looked like a solar farm. And look, that smugness was pretty strong. But the reality of that is I basically bolted like $900 worth of problems to the roof of my van. They were so heavy, they pretty much almost didn't fit. And the vibration noise alone was kind of maddening. Like it was a constant reminder that I'd made a bad call. And despite covering all of my roof, they performed, but not what I was expecting. On cloudy days, I was still glued to my battery monitor, watching numbers slide honestly the wrong way, knowing that I'd probably run out of power before the night was over. Look, it sounds good on paper, 6 panels, endless power. But in practice, it was the reason that I kind of nearly gave up. There was a week of like overcast, rainy weather, and I had to ration power. Like I was honestly like living through some kind of blackout. And I kept asking myself, do I edit the video now? Or do I save the power? Do I cook? Do I have my rice cooker on? And that's not really van life freedom. That's stress. That's not the lifestyle that I imagined when I hit buy now. Eventually, I had enough and I ripped them all off and replaced it with this one, which is just a single $500 panel. Just the one. It's lighter, cleaner, and it's the same efficiency as all 6 that I had combined before. And suddenly I actually had a bit of roof space again. I could sit up there, not that I would, but I could. I would load up some cargo racks and not just feel like I was driving just a solar billboard everywhere. The van even drove, honestly, a little bit smoother without the extra weight. And looking back, it kind of does feel obvious now, but I couldn't see it then. So look, let's do those maths. $900 wasted, plus the $500 for the new panel. That's about $1,400 spent to end up with just a $500 solution. And here's the question. Would you pay $900 to learn the hard way, or would you just buy one panel up front? Because I learned the expensive way, and I honestly wouldn't repeat it. But if the panels that I bought were bad, my charge controllers were worse. So after the panel debacle, I thought at least I'd save on controllers. I bought 3 cheap MPPTs off eBay. They were like $50 each. That's like $150 total, right? They had like the flashing lights, pretty close to fake specs. but they looked convincing enough. And I even remember unboxing them and kind of thinking, wow, this is just as good as the brand that I had and I saw online. The case was shiny, the little screen lit up nice and blue, and I convinced myself that I had outsmarted the whole system by buying budget. And this is where past me thought I was a genius, when in reality, they overheated. I don't know if I'd say constantly, but it was enough. They tripped under load sometimes. The so-called smart lights were kind of just decoration. And one night, we kind of woke up to the burning smell, that terrifying smell of melting plastic. One had sparked, had too much resistance or whatnot. And that's when I realized that my saving could kind of literally burn down what is now my house. And I was lying in bed that night, staring at my ceiling, which was wooden, by the way, wondering if the next pop I heard might be the whole system going up in flames. Pretty soon after that, we ripped them out. We added the Victron 150, which comes in at around $500. Instantly, everything worked. There was no tripping, no heat, just reliable charging every single day since I put it in. And for the first time, I honestly trusted my electrical system. I could leave it running without feeling like I needed to keep an extinguisher on my lap or not leave it in the sun for too long. So look, let's add up that cost. The 3 cheap controllers equaled about $150 wasted. I added the $500 Victron, which is about $650 total, when I could have just spent the $500 once. Would you risk your entire build over saving $150? Because that was the choice I made initially. And looking back, it's still one of my dumbest decisions. The lesson learned is sometimes you're not smarter than the brand names. And if my controllers were sparking, I gotta be honest, my wiring wasn't too far behind. So when I first wired the van, I used 50 amp cable from Amazon. It's not as thick as you think. It was cheap, quick, and it looked fine. It was thick enough to look serious, red and black. It felt proper. And I thought I was being clever by saving money while still making it look like I knew what I was doing. And I told myself, it's just wire. How different can it be? Nothing in my van is more than 50 amps. Maybe a little bit of famous last words. Cheap, affordable, yes. Smart, not really. The first time I pushed a real load, the cable got hot. Not warm, but hot enough that I thought, if I leave this running, I am probably going to be calling a fire brigade. And I remember touching the insulation and actively having to yank my hand away because it almost burnt me. And that was a wake-up call. I basically had built this rolling toaster, and the thought that my little DIY wiring could turn my little home on wheels into a fireball on wheels honestly was kind of terrifying. It was one thing to waste money, and it was another thing to risk your life because you tried to shave like $20 off some cabling. So eventually, after honestly burnt electrical wire and sparks, real sparks, I tore it all out and I replaced it with 100 amp cabling. Proper connectors, proper crimps, proper safety. It cost me probably around $200 total. It's not that big in the grand scheme of things, but it was definitely money that I paid twice for things. The difference was night and day. The cables stay cool even in a Queensland Australian summer, and the system ran smooth. For the first time, I could actually cook and edit without second guessing about how hot these cables were getting, or realistically worse. And my peace of mind, worth every cent. Where I still laugh at myself, the cost difference between the thin cable and the proper stuff honestly was pretty minimal. We're talking pocket change compared to the rest of the build. But I was trying to save a few bucks, and I ended up doubling my workload, more than doubled my stress, and honestly was risking everything in the process. And the irony of that is brutal. I spent more time and money fixing my savings than if I'd just done it right the first time. And sometimes the smartest move, as we talked about, buy once, cry once, is very real. Okay, so the storage side of things, it felt easy. We grabbed 4 of these drawers. They were about $50 each, so $200 in total. And that's a win. We actually both thought that. And on paper, it looked like the smartest part of the build, affordable, tidy, ready-made. And I picture myself sliding them out, neatly stacking clothes, food, living like a minimalist genius, right? And it really didn't turn out that way. Were they cheap? Yes. Smart? No. In the end, only 2 of them worked in the van, and the others just didn't fit the way that we needed it to work. And so half that money was wasted instantly. And then there's timber. Treated pine feels cheap at $20 a length, but until you miscalculate, mismeasure was what I meant to say. And I'd lost count by the times that I had to buy another 6-meter piece just to fix a mistake. It honestly became a bit of a running joke. Me standing in Bunnings with the same length of wood for the 3rd time in that week. And by the end, I'd probably burnt through $300 to $400 just on wood alone. And that's hundreds of dollars just in a, oh, I made a mistake moment. And not like, that's not even counting the pile of cutoffs that I had left at my dad's place. Honestly, he still calls me up about what he wants me to do about it because it's treated pine. You can't burn that. And the most ironic part is the best cabinet in my van isn't even like a custom thing. It was a free filing cabinet from Facebook. And it's honestly in pretty good condition. It's a little heavy and we didn't take the wheels off, but I've drilled it into the floor and honestly holds everything perfectly, hasn't failed us once. Meanwhile, the $200 worth of drawers, literally half gone. The filing cabinet itself like isn't Instagram pretty, but it's tough, functional, and practical. It's the definition of don't judge a book by its cover. Thinking about past Ashley, it feels obvious. And I guess this is the kind of the theme of it, and I couldn't see it then. But sometimes the non-pretty, I don't want to say the ugliest, but the non-prettiest, simplest hacks probably beat your proper builds. And I could have saved hundreds, again, if I had have leaned into practical solutions instead of chasing some kind of weird aesthetic. And the hard truth is that van life doesn't reward perfection. It rewards durability. Oh my God, this sun is killing me. I'm just gonna, it's so hot and smoky today. You guys have no idea. If it works, no matter how it looks. And honestly, if you're tired, hungry, and trying to cook in a camper van, you don't care about Pinterest vibes. You care about the drawer isn't jammed or is it falling apart. But storage mistakes were nothing compared to what we ended up dropping on appliances. So appliances, this is where our budget truly exploded. A King's upright fridge, around $600-800. And our biggest one up here, this thing, an EcoFlow Wave 2 portable aircon and heater, a whopping $1,300. And standing at the checkout, I thought that maybe we're losing the plot here because nearly $2,000 on cold air and cold food, it feels reckless. And if either failed, it is months of money wasted. But that first 35-degree day hit and that EcoFlow saved us. It's the difference between coping and giving up in summer. And the fridge too, after years of chest fridges, being able to just open a door and grab what I need is pure luxury. And I'm never going to give that up. And so it feels, again, obvious that these things were big splurges. They weren't, I don't view them as luxuries. They were survival things, and sometimes survival is worth blowing that budget for. These 2 items were definitely the hardest hit for my wallet, but there was a lot of sneaky costs in these little extras. This is where death by 1,000 cuts kind of hit me. A King's inverter, like $250, a generator, $250, roof racks tray, $170. The LED lights for inside the van, $60. An Amazon monitor, $100. $79 on a soundbar. And, you know, $100 in like USB cables, HDMI cables and this stuff. And yes, I did spend $30 on a Pokeball gear stick. Individually, like none of these things seemed like a big deal, but together they add up to like over $1,000. And honestly, some of them spark joy. Like the monitor and soundbar make our movie nights feel like a mini cinema. The generator gives me peace of mind if we do have some very long rainy days. And look, honestly, my Pokeball gear knob, I actually get compliments about it, and it makes me smile every time I drive. The little swipes of your card add up faster than some of the big ticket items. It's proof that it's not always the fridge or the batteries or your aircon that kill you, it's the drip feed extras. And when I was doing this video and I finally added up all the costs of those little extras, it honestly quite shocked me. So by the time that I had added up every panel, battery, drawer, cable, fridge, and silly little add-ons to the van, we're close to a total of $9,000. Not the $2,000 to $3,000 that I imagined, 9. And the truth is, I don't feel like it was wasted. It was $9,000 in tuition, at least that's what I tell myself. Every mistake, every rebuy, every wasted solar panel was me actually learning to build the van that works for me. And if I'd built it again today, yeah, I would skip the 6 panels. I'd buy Victron stuff or good quality solar gear first, measure timber properly, and only buy things that I would need. Those changes alone would probably save me like $3,000. But I don't regret it, honestly, because if I did regret it, I'd be depressed. But because look, and this is what I tell myself, that what I've ended up with isn't just a setup, it's my home. It's a space that fits my life, Nana's life, Elisa's life, and it makes that life sustainable for us. So if you're planning your own build, expect it to cost maybe more than you think. Make sure that you budget for mistakes, prioritize things that make your daily life easier, a good mattress, reliable fridge, safe wiring, and accept that there's going to be a bit of trial and error as part of that journey. And I do want to throw a question out to you. What is one piece of gear that you regret buying? And what is the one that kind of have saved your sanity? I'm interested in that, actually. Thanks for watching. If you want more breakdowns, thanks for watching. If you want more van life breakdowns, wins, fails, budgeting, chaos, and everything else, hit subscribe. Check out my playlist below in the description, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, watch these videos. Ooh, watch these videos. Ah, look at them. Ooh, ah. Ooh, look at them up here. Ooh, ah. Look at them. You want to click them. You do, unless you're on mobile and you don't get these pop-ups, and that's really awkward for both of us. So just, if that's you, look in the description. Okay, bye.